Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports Podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, Lane Frank. We're now on episode 187. So 187 episodes through, and I got an action-packed episode planned for you. We're deep into the championship series in the MLB now to see who will make it out and make it to the World Series. We had a great week in the NFL, great week in college football, and the NBA starts up next week. So get ready for an action-packed episode 187. Let's hop into it. Let's start out episode 187, how we always do, with our headlines in the NBA. First thing in the NBA I'm going to talk about right here, Lonzo Ball is back on NBA court, and that's a great thing to see. He is back on NBA court after missing 2 full seasons. I haven't seen Lonzo Ball in NBA court since I think I was in 8th grade, 14, 13, whatever it might have been, because Lonzo Ball hasn't played in forever, but he's back now, everybody. He is back on NBA court. It's exciting to see. Will he be better than LaMelo? Will LaMelo even be healthy a lot this season? We're just going to have to wait and see. But a guy who's been the profile, been so much in the spotlight basketball early on in his basketball career, from maybe high school to college to his early NBA to being off the court for 2 years. I'm excited to see how he does with this maybe new look Chicago Bulls team, we could say. But preseason in full swing. A guy who won't be playing this year's preseason, Kawhi Leonard, a little bit interesting right there. Will Kawhi be healthy for the start of the NBA season? Same with his former teammate, Paul George, already hurt 1 week into his career with the Philadelphia 76ers. Not good stuff right there. We're just going to have to wait and see. Will his PG injury be long-term? This team is ridden by injuries so much. Kelly Oubre can get injured a lot. Joel Embiid can get injured a lot. Joel Embiid even said this week, I don't think I'll ever play a back-to-back the rest of my career. That just shows how injury-ridden he is. He'll never play more than 60 games in his career. He'll probably never win an award again because of new award requirements. Look at Paul George, like I said earlier, injury-prone. This is a really interesting team to me because if they're healthy, they can be the best team in the NBA. If they're not, it's a bottom 5 team in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion. We're just going to have to wait and see, though. Will Kawhi be healthy for the Clippers? Will Paul George be healthy for the 76ers? Those are the headlines to look for in the NBA in this coming up season. For the NFL, we have some big news in the NFL this week. And, great games we had. So the first big news in the NFL, DaVante Adams is a New York Jet. Credit to everybody in that Jets front office. Woody Johnson, Joe Douglas, they got the move done. They need to get done, and they got it done. Jets got DaVante Adams, so we're going to break it down later on the episode. Amari Cooper headed over to the Buffalo Bills. Good receiver pickup. They need a receiver. Amari Cooper needed a change of scenery. Works out for both of them. Amari Cooper gets to stay in the cold weather, whether he likes that or not. Bills get a new wide receiver 1. 49ers started our week last week with Thursday Night Football win over the Seattle Seahawks, playing pretty well. Brock Purdy, this team's injury prone right now. Got a lot of injuries, injury-ridden, and Brock Purdy's showing that he's still a guy who can lead this team. I know I've said it before that maybe Brock Purdy isn't the guy for the future for the 49ers because he doesn't have that massive contract. Brock Purdy's still playing really good football as of this season. Even though they're 3-3, he's playing good football. Niners, nice win last week over the Seahawks. Chicago Bears, they played great on Sunday in London, really just dominating Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is playing like a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL right now, while Caleb Williams, last week at least, played like a top quarterback in the NFL, playing really good football. Caleb Williams and the Bears. Is he better than Jaden Daniels right now? I'm not going to go that far to say that because Jaden Daniels has been fantastic to start his rookie season, but Caleb Williams, not too far behind, played really well on Sunday, in my opinion. Indianapolis Colts with Joe Flacco at quarterback. I think they're a better team than Anthony Richardson at quarterback, and they showed that on Sunday. Getting a nice win. Indianapolis Colts, Joe Flacco, nice win on Sunday. Houston Texans keeping things going. CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans get to 5-1 on the year. Buccaneers improved to 4-2. Nice win over there. They'll play this week. Really good big game they have against Baltimore Ravens. Tampa Bay versus Baltimore, Monday Night Football. It's going to be the game to watch this week. You're just going to have to wait to see my pick on that. And Schoolyard Sports, NFL Game Day, maybe the game of the week over Lions versus Vikings. Another great game. We're going to break down next segment. Eagles, like I said, 4-2. Nick Sirianni, they get a nice pickup win over the Cleveland Browns, but the Browns team is just playing terrible right now. Terrible. I'll say this right here. When I was about 7 or 8, I saw the Browns go 0-16 and 1-15. Those offenses, led by Sean Kaiser, Cody Kessler, maybe Johnny Manziel for about a game or two, were better than this $250 million Deshaun Watson team I'm witnessing right now. It's disgusting the way this Browns team is playing. Eagles got a nice win over them on Sunday. Ravens, still playing some good football. Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, they took down the Washington Commanders on Sunday. Not an easy task, though. Commanders playing some good football. Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh had to go into the medical tent, a little bit sick, came out of the medical tent, got a win for his team over Denver Broncos. Love to see that right there. Steelers, they got the win on Sunday over the Raiders, but they're making a quarterback switch. I kind of understand this move a little bit. You look at his stats, you look at face value. Steelers are 4-2. It's pretty good. Justin Fields, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick. It's pretty good. You look at the receiver stats, it's horrible. Justin Fields is not getting them the ball. In the big games, he cannot get them the ball. And that's what's happening right here. Steelers, I think they're making the right move right here, switching to Russell Wilson. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You have an easy game this week. If it works, great. You have your quarterback for the rest of the year. Because Fields is not going to win you a playoff game. He might not even get you to the playoffs. You want to avoid a disaster collapse right here. This is the move to make. Steelers go with the veteran Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Lions had a great win on Sunday over the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Dan Campbell really had a plan on Sunday. He said, saw something on film, whatever it might have been, and said, oh yeah, we're winning this game. We stick to our game plan. We're beating the Cowboys badly. And that's exactly what they did. Dan Campbell played great football, or coached great football. Stan Campbell and the Lions wasn't biggest win, 47-9, because they lost their star player, Aiden Hutchinson. So great win, not the most joyful win. So Aiden Hutchinson out for the rest of the season. My Michigan guy, defensive lineman, playing like the best pass rusher in the NFL this year. It's really tough right there because Aiden Hutchinson is a great player for this Lions team. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. For the Atlanta Falcons, they're still playing great football, and I love to watch them. Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson's running the ball great. Kirk Cousins playing great. Raheem Morris is finally envisioning what I finally wanted for this team. For Bijan Robinson to get the ball, for Drake Glenn to get the ball, for Kyle Pitts to get the ball. Raheem Morris' team is doing that. They don't have Arthur Smith anymore. He's up in Pittsburgh doing his thing. Raheem Morris, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons now. Letting Kirk Cousins do his thing. Letting Bijan do his thing. Arthur Blank has to be a very happy owner right now, and he should be. Falcons are playing great. The Bengals took down my New York Giants on Sunday night. Bengals, if their record doesn't say it, still a very, very good team. About 3 wins in the year now, playing some good football. Cincinnati Bengals. And the Buffalo Bills, to recap it all out, they got the big trade for Amari Cooper. They won last week. So that's about for news in the NFL. Let's move things over to the MLB, where we have the championship series going on right now. Mets and Dodgers in the middle of game 3 right now. Really good game. Let's hope the Mets can win this series as a Mets fan. This is a pro Mets show, yet we're not biased. It's a pro Mets show. We want the Mets to do well. We're not always going to pick them to win because we're not biased on this show. But Mets, hopefully, can maybe get this series done. I don't think that's going to be easy. I really don't think it'll be easy. But let's hope the Mets can get it done. Yankees versus the Guardians. I'd love a Subway Series. I don't know if the Yankees can get it done. They're up 2-0 right now. Going back to Cleveland. This Cleveland crowd is going to ignite this Cleveland Guardians offense. Guardians offense has struggled a little bit. They've had some really key points where the bats have just gone dead. I think in Cleveland, 3 games at home, these bats can get ignited. You win 3 at home, go back to New York, you're standing with a good chance to win this series. But we're just going to have to wait and see. That's about for the headlines this week. Now, Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. We haven't had a perfect record yet this year. This week is the week. Let's hop into it. Thursday Night Football, Broncos versus the Saints. Saints' top 3 wide receivers sound like they just got off of pretty much McDonald's staff, because that's what it looks like right now. This wide receiver room looks terrible right now. They're injured. Chris Olave's out. They're starting receivers for Thursday Night Football. It looks like a Pee-wee football team. Like I said, it looks like a McDonald's staff. It doesn't look good at all. Let's go with the Broncos over the Saints this one. Bo Nix, Sean Payton has returned to the Superdome. Excited to see that. Broncos over the Saints. Patriots versus the Jaguars. Drake May had 3 touchdowns in his debut last week. I hate Trevor Lawrence right now. Drake May and the Patriots over the Jaguars. Seahawks versus the Falcons. Let's go with the Falcons. Like I said, I love watching this Falcons team play football. One of the best teams in the NFL. Mike Macdonald and the Seahawks, they got off to a great start this year. They started 3-0. They're about to go 3-4 this week. Falcons over the Seahawks. Titans versus the Bills. Titans, everybody beats them. The Titans, it seems like they're not playing good football. Will Levis is struggling. Bills over the Titans. Texans versus the Packers. DeMeco Ryans, great defensive coach. He said this week, Jordan Love is the best quarterback we're going to face. Damn right. Packers over the Texans. I think Jordan Love playing great, not just for a fantasy team, but ever since he came back from injury, this Green Bay Packers team, they're tough. Matt LaFleur's coaching some good football. Packers over the Texans, sending Texas to 5-2. Packers get to 5-2. Lions versus the Vikings. Let's go with the Lions in this one. Vikings are 5-0, coming off a bye week. Maybe need to be humbled a little bit. They're undefeated, one of the last undefeated teams in the NFL. I think it's just them and the Chiefs right now. Let's go with the Lions over the Vikings. Jared Goff, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. This offense is on a roll right now. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, they get a win over the Vikings. Next game, Chiefs versus 49ers, the Super Bowl rematch. I just hyped up Brock Purdy in the headlines, and I'm going to keep on hyping up Brock Purdy. Even though this team has a bunch of injuries right now, they're going to figure out a way to win without CMC, and they get done right here. Niners over the Chiefs. Last 2 games of the week, Jets versus Steelers. I have the Jets win this one, everybody. It's a perfect storm to win this game. Steelers have a new quarterback. Might not work out great in the first game. Jets have a great new player, one of the best players in the NFL now, DaVante Adams. It's a perfect storm for this game to work. That trade opens up everything for the Jets. Jets over the Steelers. In the last game of the week, Ravens versus Buccaneers. Previewed it in the headlines. Lamar Jackson versus great Tampa Bay defense. Todd Bowles versus John Harbaugh. Baker Mayfield versus this elite Ravens defense. I think it comes down to the defenses in this one. I think the Ravens have a better defense than the Buccaneers. Comes down to that. Let's go Ravens over the Buccaneers. That's about Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. Now, top 5. This week's top 5 is the top 5 players in the NBA for this upcoming season. These are the top 5 guys I think are going to have the best seasons in the NBA. So you can call it our first team All-NBA preseason. Top 5 players in the NBA heading this season. Let's hop into it. 5. He's a second-year player. You might call it crazy. You might not. Victor Wembanyama. Putting a lot of weight this offseason. He's ready to lead the Spurs team. Played great last year. Doesn't get injured like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, right here. Not on this list. Not on this list. Gets injured too much, doesn't play enough games. Wembanyama, I expect him to play a full 70 or more. Wembanyama, number 5. Number 4, my next guy, my next point guard, the heart and soul of New York sports, Jalen Brunson. Number 3, Nikola Jokic, the 2-time MVP, the 1-time NBA champion, gets his spot right here at number 3. Number 2, he's still so dominant. He's still so amazing. His brother's not on the team anymore, but he's still great. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo, everybody from the Milwaukee Bucks. And number 1, to round it all out, this guy made the finals last year. I think he could do it again. Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is the most dominant player in the NBA right now. Over Giannis Antetokounmpo, over Nikola Jokic, over Jalen Brunson, and over Victor Wembanyama, and over everybody else in the NBA. Luka Doncic, number 1. That's about for top 5 this week. Now, did you know, this week's Did You Know is, did you know tennis star, tennis legend Rafael Nadal, who retired this week, known as the greatest lefty of all time, who has 14 French Open titles, plays lefty his whole entire career, actually isn't a lefty, is a righty, yet plays tennis lefty. Didn't know that? Leave down in the comments. Congratulations to a legend on retiring Rafael Nadal. But did you know, even though he plays the lefty, is actually a righty? That's about for Did You Know this week. So the big news in the NFL this week was DaVante Adams over to the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers gets his best friend back. Derek Carr, who DaVante Adams thought was his best friend, is now like, what the heck? I thought he was going to come for me, play for the Saints. He came to play for me when I was in the Raiders. Now he wants to go back with his old best friend, Aaron? Well, that's what he's doing right here. DaVante Adams was an MVP candidate. Aaron Rodgers was an MVP candidate when they were together. It's just true. Plain fact. They were MVP candidates when they were together. DaVante Adams was the best receiver in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback in the NFL when they played together. Didn't equate Super Bowls, but they were still the best players at their position when they were together. Now DaVante Adams head over to New York, and that wasn't a hefty price at all. And a lot of people are thinking, this is going to disrupt Garrett Wilson, this is going to disrupt Alan Lazard, this is going to disrupt everybody on this Jets team. It's not. It's going to open up everything for them. Because now DaVante Adams is either going to get covered every game, and you're leaving open Garrett Wilson, who is truly a wide receiver 1 in this league, who's now going to be playing wide receiver 2. You're leaving him wide open, what seems like a lot more now. Opened up the pass game for him. Opened up the pass game for a very solid receiver in Alan Lazard. Opened up the run game even more for Breece Hall because we're putting so much attention on the receivers. Look out for the running back, everybody. Breece Hall can run all around teams right now. I think that's a big thing to look out for right here. And Aaron Rodgers can do whatever he wants. Aaron Rodgers can be an artist on the football field again because that's truly what Aaron Rodgers is when he has DaVante Adams, an artist in the football field. If everybody's so worried about Garrett Wilson right now, let's look at Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson was in the shadow of DaVante Adams for so long and yet still shined. Still played great football. Look for that role for Garrett Wilson right here. I love this move for the Jets. The Raiders need to get rid of him. They gave up nothing, or they got nothing, it seems like. A conditional second-round pick for the best receiver in football. Doesn't make sense to me. That's how football works. They're giving up the contract. They don't have to pay him anymore. Jets have to pay him all that money. They're fine with it because they get the best receiver in football in DaVante Adams. And I truly think he is the best receiver in football when healthy and when with Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers, can he be an MVP candidate now? I truly think so. Aaron Rodgers has been bad this season. He's been bad. Jets been bad. With DaVante Adams, changes everything. 2-4, Jeff Ulbrich, he's happy. Robert Saleh's like, why didn't we make the move when I was there? Smart to do it now without Robert Saleh. So let's go. DaVante Adams over to the New York Jets. And that's the spotlight for this week. So if you're a college football junkie, if you're a football junkie, like me, you sit around Saturdays and you say, this guy's pretty good as a head coach. This guy's pretty bad as a head coach. This guy has the if factor. This guy doesn't. Oh, no? That's not what you think? Well, that's what I think when I watch college football on Saturday. I say, Brian Kelly, he coached a great game on Saturday. Is he a championship-winning head coach? Let me talk about that in the next episode. So we're going to break down right now which college football coaches I think right now in the FBS. There's not many that are championship-winning coaches. Guys that I think right now can win a national championship as a head coach. And the guys who maybe a lot of people think they are, a lot of guys that are maybe the top coaches in college football that I don't think have it. So let's break it down. These are the guys in college football that have it. They have the if factor to win a national championship. And it starts out with Oregon head coach Dan Lanning. He's the enthusiasm. He has the players. He has the staff. He has everything he needs to win a national championship. Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's been to a national championship before. He gets the players to buy in. He knows when to hold them accountable. He knows when to be happy. They don't win that game on Saturday. I don't put Brian Kelly on this list, but he is on this list. Brian Kelly. Dabo Swinney has won a national championship. He's won 2 of them. He's done it with 2 different quarterbacks. He might be doing it a 3rd time this year. I know it sounds crazy, the way Clemson started the year with their first game, but Dabo Swinney somehow, someway has got these players to buy in after 2 rough seasons. After really 3 rough seasons, he's finally got the players to buy in again to his program. A guy who does things maybe more traditional way, maybe a little too traditional. Dabo Swinney is getting the guys to buy in right now. I think Dabo, championship-winning head coach. Another guy who thinks a championship-winning head coach yet. He hasn't done it as a head coach yet. Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian at Texas has built up a great program. He's got the culture down. He's got the charisma. He's got everything. Steve Sarkisian can win a national championship. He's got the it factor. Matt Rule. This one might shock a lot of people. Matt Rule, even though those Nebraska Cornhuskers aren't even a top 10 team, top 15, top 20 team, maybe not even top 25 team this year, Matt Rule someday will win a national championship in college football, and I truly believe that. Another guy on this list, another Big Ten coach, Curt Signelli. I really think Curt Signelli of Indiana, his quote, "I win. Google me." Goosebumps. Goosebumps that quote gives me because it's true. Google Curt Signelli. He wins everywhere he goes. At James Madison, he won national championships in the FCS. They go up to the FBS level. They're winning games right away. They're in the top 25 his first year at the FBS level. Now Indiana, Curt Signelli is a great head coach, and he's doing great with Indiana. This Indiana team, horrible last year. They're undefeated right now. Kirby Smart, this one's a no-brainer. National championship-winning head coach. I think maybe the only head coach in the FBS right now, current head coach, with national championship in the SEC. So a little bit crazy right there. I think Dabo and him might be the only guys in college football actually to have current head coaches in college football to actually have a national championship ring. He's the only one to do it in the SEC. And Kalen DeBoer of Alabama. A lot of people like to hate on Kalen DeBoer, but same thing as Curt Signelli. Google him. He wins everywhere he goes, whether it's Wisconsin Whitewater in D3 or whether it's Washington in the FBS, now on to Alabama. Kalen DeBoer wins football games. Doesn't matter how he finishes this year with Alabama, they win football games. And here's the guys who maybe the top coaches in college football, they don't have that it factor, in my opinion. And it starts out at the top with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin isn't a college football championship-winning head coach. He's not a national championship-winning head coach. He's at a window program right now at Ole Miss. And what I mean by a window program is that Ole Miss has windows of success. They're not going to be a dynasty. They have windows of success. And that window is closing and closing and closing every year even more. And this might be the year it's finally shut. The Lane Kiffin era in college football died on Saturday night. Died when they lost to LSU. This is a good Ole Miss football team. This is an incredible Ole Miss football team. They have a really good staff. They have really good players. They don't have the head coach to put it all together. I don't think Lane Kiffin can put this all together. I've never been one to hate on Lane Kiffin. I'm doing it now. Lane Kiffin cannot put this team together. You have the number 1 recruit in the nation, Walter Nolan. You have a great quarterback, Jackson Dart. You have the best receiver in college football, Trey Harris. You ran one of the best running backs in college football, Quinshon Judkins, out of town. You have a new running back now. You have a decent defense outside of that. So what's up with Ole Miss? Lane Kiffin is the issue. Mike Norvell. I could see a headline next year at this time. Mike Norvell fired from Florida State. You should too. Mike Norvell, not a championship-winning head coach. Here's a big one right here. Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley. You can't just play offense, and Lincoln Riley's offense really isn't even all that. That's what the narrative was back in Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma days. You can't just have the offense. You have to have the defense too. You can't just throw the ball. You have to have the running game too. Now for Lincoln Riley, what is it? You can't just have the staff around you. I could argue this USC defense is better than this USC offense. This USC defense, Lincoln Riley, credit to him, made an incredible hire, going to UCLA, getting their defense coordinator, having him come over to USC to be their defense coordinator, and they've done a great job of their defense. For the offense, Miller Moss started the year great. Now Lincoln Riley's playing the Big Ten, and he's shivering. He's not coaching good football. His team's not playing good football in the second half. Second half against Michigan was terrible. Second half against Penn State was terrible. Second half against Minnesota was terrible. Even the second half against LSU until the last drive of the game wasn't great football. So they can rally. No. Ryan Day, another big guy. No, I don't think Ryan Day is a championship-winning head coach. He doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't build the right staff around him, doesn't get the right players around him, and doesn't have what it takes to win a national championship. Two more guys on this list. Josh Heupel of Tennessee. Josh Heupel of Tennessee. Complacency. That's all I'm going to say. He's a complacent head coach. He's comfortable with where he's at. He's not going out for crazy things anymore. He's like, all right, we're good with what we are right now. We don't need to go any crazier. He's not the guy who's going to give you that great pregame speech. He's not that guy. Josh Heupel, not a national championship winning head coach. Matt Rule, Kurt Signelli, those guys can give you a crazy pregame speech. Josh Heupel, I want to see you make a crazy pregame speech. I don't think you have it in you. Josh Heupel, no. And the last guy on this list that is a no for me, James Franklin, who I think may even have one foot out the door at Penn State. They're having a great year. They're number 3 in the country. They're a very overrated number 3 in the country. He might be going to Florida at the end of this year. Same with Lane Kiffin. He could be going to Florida at the end of this year. But for James Franklin, I really don't think he has to win a national championship. He doesn't even have it to make a college football playoff in that 4-team era. Let's see if he can make it this year in 12-team era. But no, for James Franklin. And that's part from my segment this week on the college football coaches that have the it factor and the ones that don't. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, College Football Showcase Top 25. Let's hop into it. We're heading into Week 8 of college football season. It's been a great ride so far. So, here's the Top 25. Let's go. Number 1, Oregon Ducks. They're my new number 1, everybody. The best team in college football. Really quick thing right here. We put out the college football hot takes to Schoolyard Sports Instagram. Go check them out. The last one was Oregon, number 1 in the country. 2, Texas Longhorns. Huge game this week against the Georgia Bulldogs. 3, Miami. 4, Penn State. Like I said, I have to put them at 4, but they're overrated. 5, Tennessee. 6, Ohio State. 7, Alabama. 8, LSU. Great win on Saturday. 9, Georgia Bulldogs. Like I said, big game going to Austin, Texas. You win that game, I might even put you at 1 next week with 1 loss. 10, Clemson. 11, BYU. Jake Retzlaff is a true Heisman contender, playing great football. 12, Notre Dame. Notre Dame just had a great ride since that Northern Illinois game. They're playing really well. 13, Texas A&M. Obviously, 1 point behind Notre Dame because they're head-to-head, but still playing good football. Both these teams had early season losses. Now they rebound from them. Notre Dame 12, Texas A&M 13. 14, Ashton Genty in Boise State. 15, Kurt Signelli in Indiana. 16, Matt Campbell in Iowa State. Matt Campbell's done a great job this year up in Ames, Iowa. 17, Missouri Tigers. 18, SMU Ponies, playing good football. Kevin Jennings playing good football for them now. They benched Preston Stone at the beginning of the year. Kevin Jennings has them undefeated. 19, Illinois. Huge game against the Michigan Wolverines this week. You want to rush the field. You want to tear down your goalpost. You beat Michigan this week. 20, Nebraska. 21, Michigan Wolverines. You want to prevent Illinois from doing that? Start Jack Tuttle at quarterback. 22, Ole Miss. Tough loss against LSU. 23, Navy, Service Academy. 24, Pitt, Eli Holstein, number undefeated. 25, Army, another Service Academy. This is going to be an incredible game at the end of the year, especially if they're both undefeated. Army versus Navy. That could be a great matchup. These are two teams in college football right now. You do not want to face Army and Navy. Even for Pitt, really good team. That rounds out my top 25. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, the hot takes for College Football Showcase. You know me. I think I'm the best college football analyst in the country. I think I know the most about college football. I love talking about college football. I got a little bit of dilemma right now. I've been picking games horribly all season long on the College Football Schoolyard Sports Instagram. The hot takes this year have been lacking. You can watch Schoolyard Sports hot take videos every single Saturday. Love to make them. Love to do my hot takes. The picks have been terrible this year. But this week, just like Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day, it's going to be 6-6. So let's hop into it. The first game of the week. It's a great rivalry. It's one of the best rivalries in America. Alabama versus Tennessee. Tennessee, every sign points to them winning this game. Every sign points to them winning this game. Nico Iamaleava is a great quarterback. Josh Heupel, on paper, is a great coach. Where's that pregame speech, Josh? Better send it. This defense is the best defense in the country for Tennessee. This offense, though, has scored 0 points in the first half of their past 2 games. 0. They lost against Arkansas. They beat Florida in overtime. Probably a game they should have lost if Graham Mertz didn't get hurt. But Alabama played terrible last week against South Carolina. They played terrible the week before against Vanderbilt. They played great the week before against Georgia. But I'd say for the past, what should we call it? 10 quarters of football for Alabama. So second half of that Georgia game in their past 2 games, Vanderbilt and South Carolina, this has not been a top 5 team in college football. It really hasn't been. They were great in the first half of the Georgia game, which saved them from that Georgia comeback because then Ryan Williams things happened in the fourth quarter because Ryan Williams can do Ryan Williams things. Maybe he does that in this game. Every sign points to the Tennessee winning this game. Alabama likes to play down to the level of their opponent, and they did that with Vanderbilt and South Carolina. I think Kalen DeBoer is a guy who can get his team up for a big game. And I think they do that right here on the road in Knoxville, Tennessee. Again, every sign says Tennessee wins this game, except me. Alabama over Tennessee. Let's go. Roll Tide, everybody. Next game, my Michigan Wolverines going into Champaign, Illinois. Illinois, all signs say they win this game. They have one loss in the year. They're playing good football. They scored 50 points last week. I don't care about that. Michigan Wolverines, Jack Total, DaVante Edwards coming off a bye week. This defense gets things going. A very talented defense, if not the most talented defense in the country. Talent. Sherrone Moore, Michigan get a great win over Illinois, a ranked win. Sherrone Moore's first ranked win as an active, or really the full-time college ball head coach, because last year in Michigan, he was only the acting head coach when Harbaugh was suspended. He was the interim. Now he's the full-time head coach and gets his first ranked win as a full-time head coach. Next game, another Big Ten game, Nebraska versus Indiana. I just talked about how great of a head coach Kurt Signelli is. I also talked about how great of a head coach Matt Rule is. I think the Matt Rule championship era starts with this game. Dylan Raiola, he's going to win a national championship someday in his 3 years at Nebraska with Matt Rule, and they get a great upset win right here, ending the Indiana perfect ride. Nebraska over Indiana. Another great game we have right here in the ACC. Louisville versus Miami. Louisville has 2 really tough losses, one to SMU, one to Notre Dame. They're at home right here. Miami, I don't love what I've seen from Miami this year. Their offense is great. Their defense is struggling. They're a top 5 team in the country because they're undefeated. No more. Louisville over Miami. I love this pick. Tyler Shough, the 7th-year quarterback. Jeff Brom at his alma mater. Always love to see that. Someone coach at their alma mater. Louisville over Miami. Watch this Louisville crowd just get active. Rush the field. I love it. Louisville over Miami. Arkansas versus LSU. It's going to be a good game. It's at Arkansas. LSU is coming off a massive win against Ole Miss last week. Garrett Nussmeier played great football. He's a great quarterback. Adam Anderson, great touchdown last week. This team's just playing well. I don't care about that. Arkansas gets the win. They had a great win 2 weeks ago against Tennessee in a night game. Sam Pittman was fighting for his job in that game. Now Sam Pittman no longer just fighting for his job, fighting for a playoff spot. He's coaching great football. I think they get a win right here. Arkansas over LSU at home. You don't want to go into Arkansas. Fayetteville, Arkansas on a Saturday night with your team playing good football, and that's LSU. You don't want to do that, and Arkansas gets the win right here over LSU. Woo pig over LSU. Last game of the week. The best game of the week. The best game of the year. Best game of the decade? Georgia versus Texas. In Austin. The biggest game in Austin in years. Bigger than the Alabama game 2 years ago. Bigger than any Texas A&M game. Bigger than any Texas Tech game. They don't play the OU game there. You're coming off a big win against OU. Maybe about 24 hours of celebrating. Quinn Ewers actually said, we got 12 hours celebrating, then we got the biggest game of the year next week. Good response by Quinn Ewers. Carson Beck and Georgia have a very sour taste in their mouth right now. Terrible loss to Alabama 2 weeks ago. A team that I know that they think they should have beaten, that they probably should have beaten in Alabama. Carson Beck is fired up. Kirby Smart's fired up. This defense is fired up. Glenn Schumann is fired up. They give up 31 points last week to Mississippi State, the worst team in the SEC. They are fired up. All signs point to Texas winning this game. All signs. Texas dominated Michigan. They dominated Oklahoma. They dominated every single football team they've played. Georgia hasn't done that this year. They played Kentucky. They won by 1 point. They played Mississippi State. They won by 10. Barely. They lost to Alabama. They're not playing good football. I don't care. I got Trevor Etienne. I got Kirby Smart. I got Carson Beck going into Texas on a Saturday night and pulling off the upset. Yes, the upset over Texas. Bulldogs over Texas. And that's about for the hot takes this week. 6 for 6. You got me fired up. I'm your college ball analyst, Lane Frank. And those are my picks. Now, at the buzzer this week, let's make it a quick one, but a very good one. So, teams that are going cross country in the Big Ten this year, jumping 2 time zones, I think only have 1 win, and that's Indiana going to UCLA and getting a win. This is the downside of having a massive conference, of having a super conference, you could call it, and it gives a real sign of we don't need a super conference in college football, because what we're seeing right now, a West Coast team going to the East Coast, they're losing. East Coast teams going to the West Coast, they're losing. You're going mid-season to these cross-country programs, playing on the road. It's fun for UCLA to go to the Penn State week 5. It's fun to see that, but then they get dominated. It's fun to see Michigan go to Washington in week 5, but they lose. That's my point right here. It's tough, right? These teams are going to have to adjust. That's the theme we're seeing right now. Bet on the home team in these cross-country matchups. Indiana, like I said, the only team to win so far. Pretty crazy. And Penn State last week against USC. But again, they got off to a tough start. They played terrible in the first half. Then they got things going. I think they were down 21-3 at one point. Then Drew Aller and Penn State woke things up, went in overtime. Questionable calls in overtime. USC probably should have won. But still, Penn State got the win. They're number 3 in the country. But that's my worry for this year. The cross-country battles we're having in the Big Ten. That's about for the buzz this week. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, the best for last question day. This week's question day is, what is the best stadium or arena in sports? I was looking at a new Clippers arena today. I was like, whew, that thing is incredible. Steve Ballmer did a great job on that. He loves to say, we got a lot of great things in this stadium. The whole entire Jumbotron's an acre. We have about 150 bathrooms, stalls in the stadium because we don't want you waiting. We got crazy things in the seats where, if you're the loudest fan in the stadium that night, we'll give you a free hamburger your next game. Love to see it right there. That great arena right there. Intuit Dome. Great to see. Steve Ballmer did a great job on that. There's a lot of great NBA arenas. There's a lot of great football stadiums. Do you like the more traditional look, like maybe a Wrigley Stadium in baseball? Or maybe do you like the new Citi Field or a Petco Park? New type of thing. For football, same thing. You got maybe Allegiant Stadium. You got Lambeau Field. What is your favorite arena or stadium in sports? Leave your thoughts on that in the comments. That's Top 5 question day this week. That's Top 5 Schoolyard Sports. Lane Frank, episode 187. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports for the best sports content, news, and updates. You'll find the hot takes there. You'll find everything there on Instagram. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Twitter at Schoolyard Sport for even more hot takes directly from me. Follow Schoolyard Sports on TikTok for more content like this. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review for the best sports content in the world. Be back here next week, episode 188. Stay tuned.